I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHack's Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is the magic ring. So this episode is for men, and specifically men who are on the fence about advancing their relationship to the next level. A healthy dose of caution is called for under the circumstances. It's perfectly normal not to feel completely prepared to take the next step. However, you should feel a kind of guarded optimism about doing so. On the other hand, there is absolutely no universe, none, in which you should ever promote a woman to fiancé or wife when the relationship is not working. I'll say that again. Never promote a woman when the relationship is not working. And the fact that I'm going out of my way to say something that should be perfectly obvious to any rational adult should tell you, at least when it comes to relationships, just how rare rationality can be. A lot of men believe in the magic ring. That is, that a ring will solve the problems that exist in a relationship. And I'm here to tell you, boys, that you should have stopped believing in magic a long time ago. That is just an overpriced rock, my friend. If you think it is imbued with a greater power than that, then your love of the halfling's leaf has clearly slowed your mind. There is no magic ring. Whatever problems exist now, when the relationship is entirely at will and unburdened by any real responsibility, will not only persist, they will grow tenfold when you introduce marriage into the equation. So, where does this far-fetched idea come from? In the majority of cases, this belief actually doesn't originate in men. It is insinuated into men's minds by women. And women do this in two significant ways. In the first way, a woman starts to act pouty or petulant or withdrawn. She tells you that she's behaving this way because she just doesn't feel secure enough in the relationship. After all, how can she possibly feel safe in the absence of a permanent commitment? We can think of this as the soft launch of the direct ultimatum for marriage, which typically ensues a few months later. Now, there is a grain of truth to this declaration. When there's too much insecurity in a relationship, the woman is going to feel anxious. And this is something that you will have to contend with. Like, few people are going to be able to thrive in a job in which they are constantly threatened with getting fired. But by the same token, people still work jobs in the absence of permanent security. Like, unless you're the Pope or a Supreme Court justice, you have to contend with the reality that your position is only provisionally secure, and what security you do enjoy is largely tied to your efforts and outcomes. And guess what? Women still feel comfortable moving forward with careers in the absence of a permanent commitment. The level of security that women expect in their sexual relationships is excessive. It's excessive. They do not make similar demands of their family or their friends or their employers. And when they're sufficiently unhappy with a given man, they also show little compunction with respect to doing it themselves, right? So don't fall for that bullshit. This tactic is actually a form of negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is when we elicit the desired behavior by removing an aversive stimulus. By first becoming unstable or uninterested, and then proposing a solution to her self-imposed problem, she's suggesting that you'll be able to change her behavior, which she has always ever had control over, if you just gave her what she wanted. That is not true, and God help you if you actually believe that. As I discussed in the episode, Creating a Monster, going along with this will only, consciously or not, reinforce the idea that in order to get what she wants, all she has to do is make your life sufficiently uncomfortable. Keep giving in, and you'll train your own emotional terrorist. Don't say I didn't warn you. If you're interested in taking your understanding to the next level, I would encourage you to check out the Captain's Quarters, my members-only self-improvement community. Your monthly membership will get you access to a cadre of like-minded, supportive individuals, bi-monthly group consultation sessions hosted by yours truly, and exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. Click the link in the description for more information. Hope to see you aboard. Now, the second way that women can insinuate the idea of the magic ring into a man's mind is in the midst of a breakup. A lot of you guys are involved in on-again, off-again relationships, which, trust me, is never a good sign. Your exes are generally your exes for a reason. The more you perpetuate this dynamic, the more you reinforce a really dysfunctional cycle. A cycle characterized by glorious reunion, followed by a slow descent into neglect and resentment and boredom, followed by a big blow-up fight, followed by fear and loneliness and regret, followed by a glorious reunion. This is actually a kind of process addiction, and it can keep people in messed up relationships for years and years. In the midst of this cycle, typically when they're in an off-again phase, the man might begin to feel like the woman is slipping away, like for real this time, right? Maybe she isn't returning his texts. Maybe she's getting involved with somebody else. And this typically induces a fair amount of panic in the man. He's process addicted, and just like any other addicted, he needs to keep getting and going bigger and bigger in order to get an effective dose. They've gotten back together so many times already that it's going to take something different, something special to seal the deal this time. I know. What if I wifed you up? Isn't that what you always wanted? Surely, after all these years, you wouldn't turn me away when your final victory is at hand. In any case, that's how you know I'm serious this time. I'm prepared to do what I've never been willing to do before. And it's like, no, brother, no. That is a terrible idea. You've got a lot of problems in that relationship. Binding yourselves together even more tightly is not going to solve anything. In the vast majority of cases, men who act this way are making an emotional decision born out of single-mindedness and the illusion of scarcity. As painful as it might be, it could be best to let that one go and figure out what's preventing you from having more loving and stable relationships. Guys, if you really want to go in the direction of the ring, I'm not going to stop you. But I am going to ask you to consider that the ring is really a symbol. Namely, it's a symbol of a relationship that actually works. A ring is circular, that is, it's whole and intact. And a ring is gold, that is, it's enduringly valuable. A ring does not make a relationship whole or intact or enduringly valuable. It's just a piece of jewelry. But a ring can be an acknowledgement of a relationship that is already whole and intact and enduringly valuable. And if you give a ring to a woman, if and only if your relationship satisfies those conditions, then it will be much less likely that you will find yourself in a position to have your gift returned further down the road. It's the relationship that makes the ring secure. It's not the other way around. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message. I know you know a guy who needs to hear what I just said, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. Other value props, anyone looking to join my free weekly newsletter, for which I write original content, or book a paid one-on-one consultation with yours truly, can do so on my website. There's also my best-selling book, The Value of Others, in which I explore the fundamentals of intersexual relationships, and my private member community, The Captain's Quarters, where I host bi-monthly group consultation calls and Q&As with invited guests from all over the internet, among other things. It's a lot of fun. It's a great group. Please check it out. The links to everything are in the description below. As always, I appreciate your support, and thank you for listening.